Good evening. My name is Rita Hopper, and I am honored, excited, and humble to stand before all of you as we celebrate our fourth annual Hall of Fame induction ceremony. It is important to us to publicly recognize those that have gone before us and made significant contributions to Petersburg High School and Peabody High School athletics. Hall of Fame inductions are important because they connect the past with the present and serve to recognize the best of the best. Tonight's celebration also gives current students and families a blueprint for success. As a retired teacher and principal, I always believe you should never stop learning. Derek Jeter once said, "There may be people who have more talent than you, but there is no excuse for anyone to work harder than you." Tonight's inductees exemplify hard work, dedication, self-respect, motivation, and never giving up. They remind us that being coachable on the field as a young person has an immediate impact and direct connection to be coached and worked with as an adult. Congratulations to the honorees. We are so very proud of you. A few weeks ago, the person I am about to introduce stated a quote that resonated with me. He said, "Work hard in silence and let success make the noise." In that moment, he didn't realize that he was talking about himself. Just like his father, Coach Lawson, Bill Lawson is in the background, moving in silence to ensure success. This Hall of Fame was a vision that he had, and he has worked and collaborated with many to make his vision a reality. I am grateful to be able to work with a person who cares so much about our community, our schools, and our children. He does not do this for accolades. He does everything he can to help because he sincerely loves having a positive impact on others. Although he doesn't do any of this to be in the spotlight, I want him to know that we value his leadership, hard work, dedication, commitment to the Crimson Wave, and his ability to continuously believe in our community when so many others doubt us. Just like his father, at times Bill is a man of few words, but this man is full of action, and when he speaks, it is worth listening to. Please join me in thanking William Lawson III, also known as Bill, as he will give the purpose of tonight's event. Let's welcome my boss, Bill Lawson.
Good evening. My task tonight is to present to you the purpose of the Hall of Fame. This is our fourth year of physically hosting the Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame. However, the building blocks for this event were laid in place 6 years ago. To make this event successful, it has required the hard work, dedication, and perseverance of an entire community. 6 years ago, I sat down with the late Mr. Wirt Smith Sr. and discussed the idea of initiating the Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame because Wirt believed in the rich history of Petersburg athletics. He agreed to offer his help. From there, Wirt and I worked together and to compile the criteria to be inducted, as well as we composed a strong and knowledgeable committee to complete the nomination and selection process. Without Wirt, this dream of mine may never have come true, and we are thankful for his hard work also. Everyone knows that a task like this could not come into fruition without sufficient funding. Although we may have many right here in Petersburg willing to make financial sacrifices to aid our causes, our Savior, during the first actual graduated class from a rival school, Prince George High School, Reggie Williams, who I had the privilege of coaching in AAU basketball right here in Petersburg, he knew the great talent that has been bred in Petersburg. And he believed these athletes deserve proper recognition, so the Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame will forever be indebted to Reggie's generous heart and act of kindness. As evidenced by previous inductees, our rich athletic history dates well before any of us in this room had set foot on this earth. From Roland Day, a legendary coach, to Eric Tipton, a great athlete, to Ricky Hundley, a football powerhouse, to Nicole Cook, a star on the track and field. Petersburg has groomed and produced countless athletes who contributed in their field well beyond their days here in Petersburg. The Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame believes each coach and athlete deserves to be honored as heroes for their contributions on and off the field, which is the purpose of this event. As we honor the heroes of the past, we ask that you keep the heroes of the future on your heart as well. In the near future, our goal at Petersburg High School is to raise enough funds to build a field house for our athletic programs. It is our vision to give each athlete and coach access to this building in order to strengthen and hone their skills in their respective sports. We hope that you consider giving to this dream and vision so that we can cater to the needs of future heroes of Petersburg. I am in the process of formulating a Fieldhouse committee to plan on fundraising efforts for the Fieldhouse. If anyone would like to contribute their efforts to help in raising money, please feel free to pull me to the side and talk to me about my plans. We thank all of you for joining us tonight in celebrating these greats of Petersburg. We are excited to honor each inductee tonight and hope that they had their loved ones feel appreciated, admired, respected throughout our presentation tonight. Thank you.
It is my esteemed honor and pleasure to introduce a Petersburg native and servant leader of our city. She is the epitome of strong leadership, impacted leadership, and being a leader dedicated to making a difference in the lives of others. She is serious about transforming our city for the better. And when I say she is serious, she means business. It is her mission to make the safety of all Virginians her top priority, while providing critical emergency services to the communities in which she serves. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Honorable Sheriff Vanessa Crawford. I told you she was always busy.
Giving all honor to God, who is the head of my life, to our honorees and their families, and to all of you gathered here today. Good evening. Good evening. I have the distinct honor of welcoming you to our 4th annual Hall of Fame banquet and of recognizing our elected and appointed officials. I would ask that you stand if I call your name, and I would ask everyone else to hold your applause until everyone has been recognized. First, the Honorable Cheryl Wilson, Commonwealth Attorney of Petersburg. The Honorable Brittany Flowers, Commissioner of Revenue in Petersburg. The Honorable Sam Parham, Mayor of Petersburg, he's over there. Ms. Donetta Tyus, Deputy City Manager of Petersburg. The Honorable Kenneth Pritchett, Chair, Petersburg School Board. The Honorable Adrian Dance, School Board Member, Ward 7. Chief Kenneth Miller, Petersburg Police Chief, and my partner in crime here in Petersburg. No, I don't think he's made it. Ms. Renee Williams, Superintendent of Prince George Public Schools. You can give him a hand now. Do we have any other elected or appointed officials that I may have missed? Okay, thank you. The journey started a few years ago with just a thought, a dream by, again, as Rita said, Mr. Bill Lawson. And because of his determination in pulling several people from the community together, we are gathered here once again. This evening, we will be celebrating extraordinary men and women who made significant contributions to athletics, whether through playing or coaching at Petersburg High School and beyond. Each has helped to raise the standards and level of professionalism and competition while inspiring and mentoring future generations and laying the groundwork that encourage us all to strive for excellence. Present here tonight are moms, dads, brothers, sisters, teammates, coaches, alumni, and Wave fans, all waiting to hear tonight from those selected as PHS heroes and sheroes. Our desire is that everyone will enjoy this celebration as we gather to recognize these individuals. So with that, I welcome you, I thank you, and I ask that you open your ears and your hearts as you listen to the stories of these Wave greats as they receive their honors. Again, have a wonderful evening.
Sean Robinson. Sean was born and raised in Petersburg, Virginia, a graduate of Petersburg High School, and he attended Virginia State University and graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in English Mass Communication in May of 1999. During that time, Sean became the sports editor of the Virginia Statesman at Virginia State University. He also worked at the radio station there, WVST, eventually becoming their sports director in 2001. Sean was the sports director for over 7 years and won 4 CIAA Broadcaster of the Year awards. Sean also worked with the Richmond Braves during their final 2 years in Richmond. Also with their Governor's Cup championship run in 2007. Sean left Virginia State University in the summer of 2008 to become the weekend sports anchor at WTVR CBS Channel 6. Ladies and gentlemen, our own Sean Robinson.
Thank you, Ms. Harper. Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to serve as your Master of Ceremonies this evening for our 4th annual Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame. It is always a great pleasure to come back home to be a part of history, as we're going to revisit history this evening. And it's also always that date on my calendar that I always have circled to come back and celebrate what we have here in the city of Petersburg. You see the gentleman here at our head table. This is what we're going to celebrate tonight. For one night, we're going to not talk about negative stuff. We're going to talk about the great things that come from Petersburg, Virginia. We're going to do that tonight with our Hall of Fame ceremony. So on behalf, that deserves a round of applause. So on behalf of the Hall of Fame Committee, Athletic Director Bill Lawson III, I want to congratulate all of you gentlemen and also the 66 football team who will be recognized tonight for being the newest members of our Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame. Well-deserved honor for all of you guys and ladies as well. We're going to continue with our program this evening. We're going to have our invocation served by Minister Mark Peterson here of Good Shepherd Baptist Church, and then after that, we're going to get some food, get to eat. So Minister Mark Peterson, come on up for our invocation.
Mighty people of God say amen. Amen. We can do better than that. Let's say amen again. Amen. On behalf of our pastor here at Good Shepherd Baptist Church, Bishop Jeffrey L. Reeves Sr., and the Good Shepherd Baptist Church family, we say congratulations to all of you that's being honored this evening. It's our pleasure to be a part of this for the 4th year, and we're delighted to celebrate with you. Amen. Amen. Let us go to God in prayer. Father God, in the name of Jesus, we come first thanking you, for this is the day the Lord has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. We thank you, Father, for all of those that's being celebrated this evening, for every accomplishment that has been made, Lord. We thank you for their families, and we thank you for all of those assembled that has come out this evening to celebrate them. For that alone, we say thank you. Now, Lord, as we prepare to partake of this food, we ask you to bless it, Lord, like only you can, and bless the hands prepared it. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Like you heard earlier this evening, this is a very special night here in Petersburg as we honor the newest members into the Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame. Now, this year's Hall of Fame class may not be large in numbers, but the impact that they have left in this area remains to this day. And it will start with our first inductee into the class of 2018, a man who dominated the gridiron in the late 1930s and then became a general, the late Richard Boysaw. I heard some applause. You can applause if you Boysaw was a member of the Petersburg High class of 1936. He played football under the late Roland Day, who was a member of the inaugural Hall of Fame class of 2015. He led the Wave to 9 wins in his senior season of 1935 and was a member of the VHSL All-State team. Boysaw will attend Washington and Lee University after hearing a sales pitch from General alumnus and future Supreme Court Justice Lewis F. Powell. After joining the varsity team in 1937, he became the General's starting left tackle, and the individual accolades would follow. He was an Associated Press All-American Honorable Mention in 1938, made the All-Southern Conference First Team in 1939, and was again named to the All-American Honorable Team. For his achievements, Boysaw was inducted into the Washington and Lee Hall of Fame in 1991. Boysaw passed away in 1999 at the age of 82. His accomplishments on the field and community involvement away from it will never be forgotten as he takes his place into this year's Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame. Accepting on his behalf as Boysaw's daughter, Barbara Lee Boysaw Peace. This is not Barbara Lee. This is Richard Boysaw. Did you want to say a few words? Oh, you want me to read a stat? Okay.
One stat you can read, and right in here you can read that down. Now this was the 4 years he played.
At Petersburg, huh? Okay. Richard wanted me to mention the stats. From 1932 to 1935, Petersburg's record was 38, 5, and 2. Are these numbers accurate? These are right? Oh, then of course that's right. 1933 team went undefeated. They outscored their opponents in that 4-year stretch 1,041 to 129. You sure? Is that enough? Our first inductee, Richard Boysaw. Thank you. Our next inductee will always be a lion at heart. That is Ron Bolton. Bolton is a member of the Peabody High Class of 1968 and left a lasting impact under head coach Albert Jones. He was a 3-year varsity letter winner and led the Lions to a share of the Virginia Interscholastic Association Central District Championship. Bolton would attend Norfolk State University, or Little State, as all in fun, all in fun, all in fun. He was a 4-year letter winner under head coach Kurt Maddox down in Norfolk. In 1972, he was named to the Pittsburgh Courier All-American team, only the second Spartan at that time to receive All-American status. After his senior season, he was taken in the 5th round of the NFL draft by the New England Patriots, only the 8th player from Norfolk State to be drafted at that point. Bolton played 11 seasons in the NFL with the Patriots and Browns and recorded 35 interceptions and scored once. Once his playing career ended, he remained close to the sport, becoming a collegiate coach, first with his former Browns head man Sam Rutigliano at Liberty University, and then became the head coach of the Flames. He would also coach at his alma mater, Norfolk State, Howard, Delaware State, and Booker T. Washington. Later this year, Bolton will be inducted into the Virginia Interscholastic Association Hall of Fame, but tonight he is the newest member of the Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame, Mr. Ron Bolton.
Thank you very much. I guess this is no good now. I can throw this away. You did a great job. And I guess I've read this 99 times. One more time won't matter. So, but it's very overwhelming to be honored in this manner by you, the people you grew up around, the city you come from. It's a great honor. But I'll start off by saying good evening to everyone. First of all, I would like to thank God. I better pull these glasses out because I might miss something. Oh, boy. A little nervous, too. Okay. Let's start over again. Good evening. First of all, I would like to thank God for his many blessings. I would like to thank the Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame for all the planning and effort it took to make this evening possible. Needless to say, I am more than honored to receive this recognition. I accept this honor on behalf of the many friends, teachers, my family, and teammates that helped in making this dream come true. Oftentimes, it is not easy to see the impact of your efforts from day to day. So when your city identifies your accomplishments as being special, it causes you to take pause on what has been achieved over so many years. When I reflect and remember, I remember Coach Albert Jones, who gave me a chance to play football, even though I was underweight. But today somebody told me I was also slow. I had a lot to prove, To my benefit, he gave me that opportunity. I remember the support of our amazing cheerleaders, some of which are here today, and I would like them to stand as I call their name. Carolyn Spriggs, Paulette Walker, Vanessa Davis. I'm sorry for using your maiden names, but they also told me that they can still do backflips, and I'll pay to see that. Okay. I'm turning over too many pages here. Okay. Okay, every possible needless to say. I am more than honored to receive this recognition. I accept this honor on behalf of the many friends, teachers, and family and teammates that have helped in making this dream come true. Oftentimes, it is not easy to see the impact of your efforts from day to day. So when your city identifies your accomplishment as being special, it causes you to take pause on what has been achieved in so many years. That's a rerun. Okay, here we go. When I reflect and remember, I remember Coach Albert Jones. Oh, I got it now. I got my place. Okay. All right, I'm moving on now. Okay, when I reflect and remember, I remember the 1966 Petersburg High School championship team featuring Ronnie Erb, Riddle Hines, Rudy Hawkins, Stokes Hill, and Big Moody. Ronnie Erb once ran 6 touchdowns in one game. That was amazing. That team brought a great deal of excitement and pride to our city. We all felt a part of that. I remember Luther Anderson, better known as Street Light, because he ran home as soon as the street lights came on. We all remember that signal. I remember my teammate, Harold Price. I thank him for tackling those big running backs before they got to me. I remember honing my football skills with the Pender boys and their sister, Gloria Jean, who could play with the best of us. When I reflect and remember, I remember my late friend, Richard Hamburger Perry. I could tell you some stories about that character. One in particular, the night he called me over to his house when the head coach of Norfolk State University came to recruit him as a 6'5", 300-pound lineman. I had no scholarship offers. The coach was desperate to secure Hamburger's signature. So the coach offered me to come along with him to Norfolk State University. I thank Hamburger for looking out for me. If it wasn't for him, I may not be standing here today. Fast forwarding, well, son, I tell you, college football was no crystal stair. I was fortunate enough to make Black College All-American. I was drafted in the 5th round by the New England Patriots, where I played for four years. I was then traded to the Cleveland Browns, where I played for another 7 years. Throughout my football career, every game I played, every play I made, I had Petersburg in the back of my mind. My intention was to make my family, my community, my city proud of me. During my coaching career, I remember Kendall Langford. I remember Jerome Mathis when they played for Hampton University. They were dominant players. I was coaching against Hampton while at Norfolk State. I was so proud to say they are from my hometown. I knew both then were destined to play in the NFL. Finally, Petersburg, you have now shown your ultimate gratitude. There's no greater honor than which you have given me today by inducting me into the Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame. Thank you, Petersburg, for remembering me as I would always remember you. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, our next honoree had a dominant career at Petersburg, but has now become a dreaded Blue Devil. Dreaded Blue Devil. That is Carrie Gray. Gray is a member of the class of 1985 whose list of accomplishments while wearing the crimson and gold can take up a page and a half of your program. He was a 3-year letter winner at linebacker and was selected team captain his senior season. That year, Gray led a defense that posted 6 shutouts and gave up a total of 39 points as the Wave went 7-2-1 that season. Now think about it. That was 10 games, and the defense allowed less than 4 points a night. Gray recorded a school record 32 tackles in a game against Highland Springs his senior season. He also had an interception, forced a fumble, drove the bus, and made dinner that night. That year, he finished with a school record 167 tackles and was named All-District, All-Region, All-State, Team MVP, All-American. Am I missing something? No? Okay. He also played in the VHSL All-Star football game that year. He racked up 13 tackles. He also had an interception and recovered a fumble. For his career, Gray accumulated 302 tackles, 11 forced fumbles, 8 fumble recoveries, and 7 interceptions. And also during that senior season of 1984, he won the Virginia State Powerlifting Championship in the 220-pound class. After his stellar high school career, Gray received a full scholarship to attend the College of William & Mary to play for head coach Jimmy Laycock. He was a 4-year starter at linebacker, was named Rookie of the Year in 1985 by the Tribe Quarterback Club, was named MVP of the Oyster Bowl in 1987, Team MVP in 1988, was named Defensive MVP of the first Epson Ivy Bowl in Japan, and was a 2-time All-State linebacker as named by the Times-Dispatch. Once his college career ended, Gray became a football coach at Carter G. Woodson Middle School, Petersburg High, Manchester, Highland Springs, Dinwiddie, and Virginia State, and was also a track coach at several schools, to include PHS. Currently, Gray is the athletic director at Hopewell High School, who are the defending Class 3 state football champs. And ironically, they won that state title at Zabel Stadium in Williamsburg, where Gray's college playing career took place. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the newest inductee to the Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame, Carrie Gray.
Jacqueline Carr says, it's my winning season. Everything attached to me wins. Good evening, everyone. First, giving honor to God. I want to give the honor to the other, congratulate the other honorees. I'm going to try to slow it down. As you see, I've done a lot of things in a small amount of time, and hopefully I can take my time on this. It is truly an honor and a privilege to be selected to the Petersburg Athletic Wall of Fame with such a distinct class. I am humble beyond words. To God be the glory. You know, I wasn't ready for this last year. And I'm so thankful that the committee was patient with me. God is still working on me. I would like to thank Mr. Foncia Mason for nominating me and the selection committee for selecting me. This is truly the crowning moment of my athletic career. To have gained the respect of those who have watched your journey from the beginning to the top is truly remarkable. I'm not going to read it. I'm going to read my script, but I'm going to talk off the side too there. I don't want y'all to think I'm going to stay to this script. So much of what we did as athletes in the pre-VHS, the pre-internet, and the pre-social media world goes unnoticed and unresearched. We have to rely on word of mouth to keep our actions and our contributions to our sport alive. I had the privilege of watching my last high school game about 8 months ago. And the first time I looked at it, I was like, man, I was all right. You know, I had 11 tackles, you know, interception or whatever. And then I looked at it again. And I was like, you know, I forced 4 fumbles. I deflected 3 passes. And then I even played offensive tackle that game. You know, so sometimes looking back, VHS, I should say, give you the opportunity to move forward. But I no longer have to do that, because the world will forever know that Curry, the Graffler Gray, also known as Nuck, know what I accomplished. And I want to thank Brian Bannister for giving me that name. He used to call me the 6'9" Graffler. Thank you. This validation of my athletic contributions and accomplishments definitely puts the roof on my athletic career. The foundation was laid with discipline, hard work, dedication, energy, commitment, enthusiasm, passion, and teamwork. It's pure joy. My legacy will live forever. The fruits of my hard work and sacrifices will be remembered forever. My kids can now understand why the bar of expectation is so high. Football was truly my calling. The first interview I had after my football career was over, Dave Pittman, he asked me, and I said, you know, football carried me until I could carry myself. The game owes me nothing, and I owe much of what I've achieved in my life to it. The game was my path to a better tomorrow. And I understand why God put great men in my path to ensure that I would not fail. I am truly standing on the shoulders of giants who brought their understanding of life experiences to me. And you see, life feeds on life to sustain a higher life. I would like to thank all of my regular league coaches for giving me guidance, direction, and for taking the time to teach me the fundamentals of the game. I would especially like to thank Mr. Wallace Butterbean Johnson for being a father to me. He gave his time, his energy, his financial support if needed be, to help me see the bigger picture called life. Thank you, Bean. I love you, man. I want to go off on a tangent right fast. I'm here today because of 2 monumental events that happened in my life. In 1979, you all remember the state championship football team. Kerry Gray remembers his mother on a dying bed with a heart attack. You know, I remember 1979 because I left the streets that year. I stopped hanging out, and I started playing football. I shouldn't say start playing football. I basically started hitting the books seriously because I knew that the only person that loved me was about to die. Now, my mom didn't die, you know, but that event right there, 1979, kind of gets you out of the street knowing that you got to grow up and you got to take care of yourself. You know, so I won't ever forget that. Nor will I forget, and I was telling Roachbug, you know, we was playing JHW, and Frankie Smith is here, and he can attest to this. And we had a a trainer, a manager named Jeff Henderson, and one of my teammates named Daryl Wynn. Daryl Wynn knocked Martin Smith out the game. And if you all don't know, Martin Smith was one of the fastest people in the world. He ran a 10-100 meters. Daryl Wynn caught him on a sweep, knocked his helmet off, boom. So Jeff ran over to the sideline. I'm going to, Nuck, if you knock somebody out, I'll buy you some chicken. So I'm diving on piles, trying to hit everybody to get that chicken, after the end of the game. Well, someone caught me going across the pile, and they knocked God knows what out of me. And if you ever had a stinger, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I told Bug, I said, I thought about quitting football at the end of that year, because your shoulder is numb, and, I didn't know what the world would do. So I remember that moment like it was yesterday. But Coach Buddy Martin, he started a weightlifting program, and you can kind of see how God has put people in my path when I need them, right when I needed them. My junior year, I played football at 181 pounds. My senior year, when I won the state powerlifting program, and we did a Nebraska program, and we did a 8-6-4, 2-4, 5-5, Wednesdays, and Friday we came back and did it again. And I'm telling this to Coach James so he can get his guys a little bigger. But I put on about 30 pounds of muscle, and that's one of the reasons I'm standing here today. And in my message, I remind myself that he physically made me an All-American. And you all don't see the days where I'm walking the railroad tracks, going into that weight room. And if Reuben Adams was here, Reuben Adams always said, he said, man, where your bed at? Because you're down here every day. And you can kind of tell when somebody wants something more out of life because they're going to show up every day. And they're going to give everything they got. And that's what I did. Make no mistake about it, football was a stepping stone to something better for me in life. And I'm so glad and thankful that Coach Martin came into my life. I also have a little, we didn't have weightlifting singlets. We lifted in the wrestling singlets. So when you go to a meet, everybody had on super suits or whatever, and you got on your little singlet looking out of place. But he also did something else for us. He had us lifting against grown men. Remember Joe's place? Man, I was in a bench pressing contest at Joe's place. I benched 320 pounds in high school, so I'm pretty strong. At least I think so. So they take your body weight and put 50 pounds on it and tell you to bench it as many times as you can. And, myself and Eddie Jackson, we probably finished last that day, but he was instilling a mindset of competing. Don't worry about the odds, just continue to compete. My next coach that I want to shed some light, Coach Bernie Branch. Coach Branch was a diehard disciplinarian, but he thought outside the box. I can still hear him saying this: head up, back straight, knees bent, eyes on target. And he must have said it 1,000,000 times while we were in the preset position for half the individual practice. But Coach Branch said something to me that was so powerful. I said, man, I don't want to play line. I want to play running back. He said, great. All a linebacker is running back on defense. I said, for real? He said, yeah. So I want to thank Coach Branch for that great piece of advice. Man, they was right on time. Also, I would like to thank my college coaches for teaching me the strategies and enhancing my technique. Coach Derwin Cox, and I know he was sent to William and Mary for me. Even though I didn't play running back, I spent a lot of time with the running backs, one-on-one drills and things like that. But he was put in my path to help me transition to William and Mary. And Coach Cox, I also want to thank him for all the Sunday dinners and card games that we played over there. You were definitely a godsend. I would like to thank my high school teammates. And I note that the law of significance states that one is too small of a number to achieve greatness. So for the few members that are here today, thank you so much for being great team members. I see Taylor in the back. Thank you so much. Thank you for the camaraderie and the friendship that we share. I could not have done this without you. I would especially like to thank the members of the starting defense and the powerlifting team. We used to say a thing, I think when Ricky Huntley and them played JHW, JHW got off the bus with this little chant: we hit hard, we tackle hard, we hard, we know we hard. And I want to send that out to my teammates to play defense for me. And I want to correct Sean. Sean, we actually only gave up 39 points. The first game, Potomac scored on offense twice. They didn't score on us. They scored on offense twice. Let the record state. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you to my mother, Miss Ramona Gray, who allowed me to follow my passion. She was my very first coach, who instilled in me the message of getting good grades in school so that you can go to college. I did both. You know, and I noted that it was the heart attack in 1979 that really forged and galvanized me to be the person that I am today. Thank you, Mom, for allowing me to chase my dream and providing me with the much-needed inspiration. I love you so much. I am honored to have my family here to share this moment with me, my wife, Laura, my daughter, Kyla, and my son, Jaden. Thank you for being here. Again, I would like to thank the committee for selecting me. This is an awesome event. And Bill, I hope I get a chance to come back next year. I went in as an athlete this time. Maybe I can go in as a coach next year. And then the following year, I can go in as an administrator, as a contributor. I've had so much fun. And, thank you for, I said this, and Jerome I wanted to go in after Roachburg because of what he did and all that. And I don't know who put us together, but man, he's a funny person. He's funny. He's the only person here who probably hasn't had anything to eat. He was so nervous over there, and I'm just trying to keep him going. I want to give a shout out to Mr. James Porak for doing something that I found out probably about 4 months ago. Mr. Porak, I know he had sent my transcript down to William and Mary. But Laycock stopped in my office a week before we played for the state championship. And he said, man, James Porak really loved you. I said, what do you mean? He said, he sit in all those meetings to fight for you, to get you in William and Mary. Thank you, Mr. Porak. Thank you so much. Love you. I'm going to read a passage, then I'm going to close out with my prayer. And if you all have had the opportunity to see the book of Eli, I say this to my mom every day. And my mom suffered a mini stroke March the 21st. Because I call her every morning on those railroad tracks, I was able to get her and call the ambulance or whatever. But I'm going to hit that. But I want to say this because this kind of puts everything in perspective for me. It says we need everything around us in order to take the necessary steps toward our goal. Everything has to be a personal manifestation of our will to win the good fight. If we don't understand that, we become arrogant warriors. And our arrogance will defeat us in the end because we will be so sure of ourselves that we won't see the pitfalls on the field of battle. I don't know who wrote that quote, but I just liked it and I thought it fit the moment. And I have a note here for my godfather, Julius Moore. I want to thank him for all the time and dedication that he put into my life as well to lead me to Christ. I'm going to close with my favorite prayer. And I don't even have to read it because I said it so much. Dear Lord, thank you for giving me the strength and the conviction to complete the task that you've entrusted to me. Thank you for guiding me straight and true through the many obstacles in my path and for keeping me resolute when all around seems lost. Thank you for your protection and the many signs along the way. Thank you for any good I may have done. I'm so sorry about the bad. Thank you for the friend that I've made. Please watch over him as you watched over me. Thank you for finally allowing me to rest. I am so very tired. But I go now to my rest at peace, knowing that I have done right with my time on earth. I fought the good fight. I finished the race. I kept the faith. Closing prayer, Book of Eli. Thank you so much. Amen.
All right, our next inductee was a three-sport star that won championships stateside and abroad, Elton Howerton Jr. Better known as Sig to his friends, Howerton was a part of the class of 1952 and was a football, basketball, and baseball standout during his time at Petersburg High. He was a 4-year letter winner in football, 3-year letter winner in baseball and basketball, while also being the team captain in both football and baseball in 1951. During his time on the gridiron, Howerton was selected to the Virginia All-State Group 1 football team his senior season. While serving a tour of duty in Korea with the Army, and we thank you for your service, Mr. Howerton, Howerton played both football and baseball and led the 24th Infantry Division Sports Program to the Armed Forces Far East Army Korea Football Divisional title. After serving his country, Howerton attended Randolph-Macon College, where he played football, basketball, and baseball, but football was where he excelled. He was selected first team Little All-American by the Williamson system, first team All-Little 8, first team Mason-Dixon Conference, was on the All Kappa Sigma national team, was an honorable mention selection on the AP Little All-American team, honorable mention on the All Methodist All-American team, and led the Yellow Jackets to the 1958 Mason-Dixon Conference title after they beat their arch rival, Hampton-Sydney. His accomplishments at Randolph-Macon led to his induction into the Yellow Jackets Hall of Fame in 2004. Howerton coached both football and track at Hopewell High School. You coached Hopewell too? Man. He did that after his graduation from Randolph-Macon, and he also taught math. He was also a referee and coach for youth sports leagues in the area. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member to the Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame, the Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame, Elton Sig Howerton Jr.
It's always a pleasure to return to Petersburg, to spend time with old friends and enjoy the history and memories of this great city. Most of all, this is where my education and introduction to sports started. I owe a great deal to my former teachers and to Coach Roland Day and his coaching staff. Athletics have always been a large part of my life as well as members of my family. After years of youth sports, both of my sons became multi-sport athletes at Fort Hunt High School in Fairfax County. My older son, Cal, went on to lead 4 years in football at Randolph-Macon College in Ashland, Virginia. He also enjoyed coaching high school football for many years with his brother and recently completed 30 years with Lockheed Martin Corporation. My younger son, John, was a 4-year letterman in football at Shepherd College in West Virginia. He was an All-American offensive lineman and is in the Shepherd Athletic Hall of Fame. John will be retiring this year after 32 years as a teacher and high school coach in Fairfax County Public Schools. Jack, our older grandson, just graduated from Bridgewater College, where he was all-conference and all-state in football. In addition, he was awarded as an All-American Strength and Condition Athlete of the Year. Tyler, our younger grandson, is finishing up his freshman year at Hampton-Sydney College. He was a starting offensive lineman this past season and made all-conference. I would also like to recognize my wife, Carol, who has attended all of our family sporting events since my days in college. In closing, I would like to thank my longtime friend Fox Ramsey and my son Cal for their support in my nomination for this award. In addition, I am most grateful to the selection committee for my induction in the Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Now we go to our next inductee, someone who has made his presence known in more ways than one here in Petersburg, and that is Kendall Langford. Langford is a member of the class of 2004 who gave opposing quarterbacks some sleepless nights when they faced the Crimson Wave. He was a 4-year letter winner under head coach Remus James, who was inducted into the Hall last year. Congrats on that, Coach. During his junior season with the Wave, Langford was first-team All-Central District and second-team All-Region. His last 2 years at Petersburg High School, he had 33 sacks and 67 tackles for a loss. He made first-team All-District, second-team All-Region, second-team All-Metro, and was a part of 2 playoff teams in 2001 and 2003. Langford would play college ball at Hampton University, where he did as much damage on the gridiron in the MEAC. He was named to the freshman All-American team after recording 44 tackles, 11.5 for a loss, 4.5 sacks, 7 quarterback hurries, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery. In his Pirates career, Langford accumulated 236 tackles, 56.5 for a loss, 23.5 sacks, 39 quarterback hurries, 9 forced fumbles, 5 blocked kicks, 1 interception, and he also scored twice. Did I get all of those stats right? Okay. He was also a 2-time Black College All-American. He made first-team All-MEAC 3 straight years. He was a 3-time MEAC champion and played in the Senior Bowl along with the East-West Shrine Game. After his collegiate career ended, Langford was taken in the 3rd round of the 2008 draft by the Miami Dolphins, where he was a first-team All-Rookie selection as he led the Dolphins to the playoffs that year. He also played with the Rams, Colts, Saints, and Texans. Langford also gives back to his community. He donated equipment more than one occasion and had the weight room inside the William Lawson Gymnasium renovated. The gym is also named in his honor. The name of the gym is called House of Power. I need to know how that came about. You got to let me know how that came about. Earlier this year, Langford had his number 90 jersey retired. He also received a key to the city. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest inductee to the Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame, Mr. Kendall Langford.
Good evening. It's truly an honor to be here today receiving this award. Thank you for everybody who had something to do with me getting here. Let me back up. First of all, I want to thank God. Without God, none of this would be possible. So I want to thank him. I want to thank each and every person that had anything to do with me achieving success in life, on the football field, whatever the case may be, on all levels, from Little League on up with Coach Johnson, all the way up to high school with Coach Remus James, college. My parents for their support, my wife, my kids, Coach Lawson, you know, he's one of my favorites also, man. Just thank each and everybody. I want to thank every coach, teacher, administrator, neighbor, Petersburg. I want to thank you guys for helping to hone me to be successful in life. The game of football has awarded me a lot. It's awarded me the opportunity to provide for my family. It's taken me places. It's been a great game to me, man. I love the game. I love all that goes into it. Every day I don't feel like doing some things that I need to do, but that's all players, you know, we'll complain about it, but at the end of the day, we get it done. I'm sure these guys can attest to that. But I just want to say it's truly an honor and a blessing to receive this award. I always said the city of Petersburg made me. Hampton University Petersburg raised me. Hampton University made me. I left out a man at Hampton University with my eyes big. I had a lot in front of me, but I was able to absorb everything. Coming from a household where was always taught to be humbled and, you know, treat everybody the same. I try to live by that. So I had a lot coming at me really fast. I'm all over the place. I didn't write anything down. I had a lot coming at me fast. I'm a young guy who finally left Virginia because I was just down the road at Hampton, an hour and 30 minutes away. A young man who just left Virginia for the first time on an extended period of time, going to the Miami Dolphins. That's a lot coming from a small city, going down to Miami. Third round draft pick. You know, I got a couple of dollars in my pocket now, and you know, so forth and so on. So I think I heard a quote one time that anybody can be successful, but not everyone can handle success. And that's one of the things I like to, that sticks with me. Try to handle success, staying humble, stay grounded, staying true to God. I'm a big family guy. I got some great friends. Them guys been with me forever. Jerome's one of them, table back there. Beautiful wife, 2 beautiful kids, nephews, sisters, parents, cousins. My pastor, Reverend Eli, he's here supporting me. Man, it's a lot, man. I just humbly accept this award. Thank you guys for the nomination. Thank you for all you've done for Petersburg, and I hope that you continue to do and support Petersburg, I know as I will, and thank you.
All right, our next inductee is the last of the 6 individual honorees that excelled in football, but was even more skillful on the track, and that's Jerome Mathis. Mathis, a member of the PHS class of 2004, he was a 2-sport star, track and field along with football. As tremendous as he was on the football field, and he received all state honors, all district honors, all metro honors as a wide receiver and a kick returner, but he became one of the most decorated male track athletes ever at Petersburg High School. He was a 6-time state champ, winning the 2001 National Indoor 200-meter title and setting the 7th fastest time in the nation at 21.79 seconds at the Nike Classic. He also set the joint 5th fastest 55-meter time in the nation that year at 6.29 seconds. That was even faster than Tyson Gay. His time of 34.03 seconds in the 300 meters was the 2nd fastest indoor time in 2001. And he also dabbled in the long jump, with his personal best being 7.50 meters in 2003. He received a full scholarship to Hampton, where his skills translated to the next level. He was a 1AA All-American with the Pirates and holds the NCAA record for career kickoff return average at 26.6 yards per return, breaking the record set by former 49er great John Taylor, who played at Delaware State. He also holds the NCAA record for career kickoff return touchdowns with 6. Mathis ran track for 1 year at Hampton, but was amongst the very best at that time. He won the MEAC Indoor Championship in the 60 and 200-meter dash in 2003. He won the Conference and Regional Championship in the 100 and 200 meters and finished second in the 200-meter dash in the 2003 NCAA Outdoor National Championships. After a standout collegiate career, Mathis would be drafted in the 4th round by the Houston Texans in the 2005 draft and was selected to the Pro Bowl that year as a kickoff returner, one of 3 rookies in that game that season. He would also spend time with the Redskins before joining the CFL Toronto Argonauts in 2009. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member into the Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame, Jerome Mathis.
Good evening. I want to thank God first. Without him, none of this is possible. I'm not a man of many words. Try not to get emotional up here, but excuse me. I'm sorry. Most people who don't know me, when they first see me or come across me, take me to be the arrogant type. I'm not arrogant, very humble, just very passionate, and I love winning. Throughout my life, I played football with a chip on my shoulder. I didn't really want to be labeled as a track guy playing football, which is what you normally get with a guy like me. I wanted to show people I was tough. Let them know, just because I'm small, don't cross me. I remember when I was a young child, 9 years old, running around the neighborhood, all I wanted to do is go out and play football. Football was my life. Had to be in the house, get mad when the lights, when it's dark outside, I want to stay out there and play. But, you got to go wait till the next day. When I got to Petersburg, I remember, Coach Kerry Gray, he was my physical education instructor. He used to say a lot of, as you can see, catchy phrases to you. It'll get your attention. It motivated me. I came across Remus James, who I want to thank. You taught me a lot. And I know I gave you a hard time sometimes, but it was all out of love, man. I just wanted to win. And you instilled that in me. I want to thank my mom, my father, who's not here, for all the sacrifices you had to make, all the hard times I gave you, not listening. My rec league coaches, my Hampton coaches, and my experience at Hampton was great. Met a lot of people, established a lot of relationships there that I still hold on to this day. I was a young guy going to a fast city. I got some good memories, I got some bad. I hold on to the bad ones more because, they're lessons, and I want to learn from them. I don't want to make the same mistake twice. But the good ones, they're there, and anything is possible. That's the one thing I learned from everything. You can achieve anything you put your mind to. Just because you're from a small city, people know what Petersburg, Virginia is, whether you choose to believe it or not.
And with that being said, when you believe in yourself more than anything, there's nothing that you can't accomplish. And I feel like I proved that to everybody that ever doubted me or the city of Petersburg. So in closing, I want to also thank the committee, Ms. Harper, Coach Lawson. I too felt like I should have been in the first year along with Coach Gray. I mean, only national champion you got. But I wasn't ready, and I realized that standing here now, like, I still don't think that I'm ready. Like, it hasn't hit me yet. It hasn't dawned on me yet, but I'm sure it will. So, in closing, anybody that has ever helped me achieve what I've achieved in my life, I just want to say thank you, and God bless.
Our next honoree is just the second person to go into the Hall of Fame based on wrestling accomplishments, and that's Dr. Franklin Smith. Now, while football, basketball, and baseball were popular in Petersburg, Dr. Smith made wrestling one of the sports to be a part of in the 1970s. In fact, it was Smith that started the wrestling program while he was a student teacher at Peabody High School in 1967. At that time, the school didn't even have a team, even though they were assigned to be a part of the Central District. Interest of the team grew the next year, and while Smith also coached football, he began to recruit some of the football players to fill out the roster. And after that, wrestling became one of the powerhouse programs here in the city of Petersburg. Between 1970 and 1974, Smith's teams won 3 straight regional titles from 1972 to 1974. The 3 regional championships in a row were a record that lasted 28 years before Lee Davis won 4 straight in 2000. His teams also won 3 straight district titles from 1971 to 1973, featuring guys such as Rodney Parham, Standish Brown, Ike Barrow, Michael Moore, Montague Winfield, he was also inducted into the Hall in 2016, Silas Leonard, Adrian Dance Sr., Alfred Good, Tyrone Parker, Robert Bell, Hal Mines, Elson Barnes, and Preston Boone. Between them all, they won a combined 22 district titles. More championships and titles were won in the next 7 years, which produced 19 more championships and 3 more team titles. During his coaching career, he produced an All-American in 1978, which was the first state champion at Petersburg High, Kevin Turner, back in 1985. He also had 4 state place winners as well. Now, I mentioned that Dr. Smith was a student teacher at Peabody, and that was the start of a distinguished administrative career that includes being an assistant principal at Petersburg High School, a principal at Petersburg Middle, the superintendent of the Petersburg Public School System, and was an inductee for the DC Hall of Fame Legacy Award for Education. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member of the Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame, Dr. Franklin Smith.
Thank you and good evening. To God be the glory. As one of the coaches, and probably the only one tonight to be inducted, on behalf of all the coaches, I want to thank these athletes for making us look good.
You know, and as a former superintendent, I do want to make one correction. I was not the superintendent in Petersburg. I was the assistant superintendent. And Michael Moore, I want to make one other correction, because I did not produce the state champion. Michael Moore produced the state champion. I'll talk about Michael Moore later that I produced. But, you know, you can't help but think as you listen to these guys talk, and you think about whenever people want to reduce budgets, the first thing they want to reduce is the athletic program. How can you listen to what these guys have accomplished and how they're able to help others and produce families that can go on and do many, many great things and say that we're going to reduce the athletic program? I thank you, I appreciate you, and God bless all of you. I want to go one step further because it's amazing how close the circle is. Roachbug, as they called him, was one of the guys, and I've often talked about him, that I remember coaching back in the 60s. And this is no joke. This is the only guy that I know of, and some of the guys here can probably attest to it. After practice, I had to stay back, because I coached the wide receivers. I had to stay back 30 minutes after every practice and throw passes so that Roachbug could catch them. In high school, he did catch them. In high school, he was a wide receiver. He only switched over to defense once he got to Norfolk State. And then the other connection, I'm sitting here talking, and I recognize the names, but most of you know that my son is the general manager of the Houston Texans. We start talking about Houston Texans, and I'm like, what do you guys know about Houston Texans? Well, I was there when your son was there. What a small, small world, which goes to show you have to treat everyone right, because you never know when you're going to meet them again somewhere. You know, I've done a lot in my career in terms of administration, school systems, but my wife will tell you the one place that I give credit for all of my accomplishments is Petersburg. This is my foundation. This is where I got it. And this is a place that I will never forget. And not to be morbid, but we were driving down the highway coming from D.C., and my wife said to me, you know, we keep talking about we want to be buried in Petersburg, but we have not purchased a plot yet. That's morbid. I'm not ready to be buried yet, but it is her desire, my desire, that this will be our final resting place. That goes to show how much we think about Petersburg. And this award tonight will only add to that and make it even more of a memorable place. But let me move a step further, because I'm being inducted tonight not because of my experience with football, and someone even told me I was their first Little League basketball coach. Someone said I was their first Little League football coach, and those of you who know, I did have that little team in Westview, and back during the day, we dominated. No one beat us during that season that I coached. We were very successful. But wrestling is why I'm here tonight. We started that program back in the late 60s, 68, 69, at Peabody High School. I was able to get a group of guys to come out to wrestling that knew nothing about wrestling. I'm not sure that they even knew that you had to use a mat to wrestle on. They would probably gotten on that floor and wrestle if I had said for them to do that. But I probably would have to say that I'm the luckiest coach in the world. I don't know of any other coach anywhere that could have recruited a group of guys like I recruited, that were dedicated, committed, devoted, determined to be successful. And so were we, very successful. I want all of those guys that participated in that wrestling program, because a lot of names have been called here this evening, and we may have left some of the names out, and I don't want anyone to say that we left your name. Just stand and be recognized. This is the foundation of the wrestling program for Petersburg athletic program. Stand up, guys. I know you're all over the place. Michael, Hal, Bell, Adrian Dance, Brad Peoples, and all. There's a bunch of them. They're all over the place. You know, I talked about Ron Bolton wanting me to stay after practice to throw passes. Let me tell you, this group of guys, well, I would be home on a Sunday afternoon relaxing and enjoying myself. They would call and say, Coach, we need to practice. On a Sunday afternoon, and I had to go down to Petersburg High School and open the gym to let these guys in. No, we didn't have the gym. We had a little room, if you know about the old Petersburg High School, we had the little room to the right of the gym, Coach Peel. I know you're in here. And that was the room that we had, and the temperature was always probably 110 degrees because we had to lose weight. And I mentioned Coach Peel because I want to tell one other story with some of these guys. You know, Moses Malone would always, because they would practice the same time we did, Moses would always want to come by the wrestling room and just irritate my guys, because he was the big guy, big tall guy. I always wanted to pick on them. I can beat these guys. I can wrestle them. That was Moses Malone. And I would never let him wrestle them. So one day, Coach Peel was not anywhere near. I said, okay, Moses, come on in. And Michael Moore, I believe it was, took him down and wrapped him up in a ball so much that I never had to worry about Moses stopping by that room again. That was it. And so many stories I could go on and tell about these guys and just their determination. Because, you know, all of you know something about wrestling. It's not a sport that you just start your freshman year in high school. You know, you go against guys that have been in wrestling programs since they were 3 and 4 years old. And you have to acquire all the skills to be successful in that sport. But we started out in Peabody, at Peabody, for the very first time as freshmen, sophomores in high school, and we didn't do bad our first year. I think we won a majority of our matches. I don't want to stand up here and tell a fib, but I think we won most of them that year. And of course, we didn't get to be really successful until we moved on in the next 2 years, in the early 70s, to Petersburg High School, where we really began to win the district championship, regional championships, and some of the guys went on to the state and finished up second. You know, this is an individual sport. And I had one motto that I consistently put in the heads of these guys: don't get put on your back. My coach, Coach Willis at Virginia State, taught me that when you find yourself looking up at the lights, you're in trouble. So stay out of trouble. And I tell you, these were some guys that were determined. I want to thank Coach Ralph Westbay. Also, I don't know whether he's still here or not, over here. Because I had guys that were motivated, excited to move on. Thank you, Coach. But Ralph had maybe a couple of more skills than what I had, who helped me to move them to the next level of wrestling. And that's what's got us to be very successful at the state level, and I really thank you for that. I have here tonight also my family, which I certainly would not want to leave without recognizing them. I have my daughters, my 2 daughters, Erica and Christine, and her husband. I don't leave you out, Jeff. Also, I have my granddaughter, my 2 granddaughters, my oldest granddaughter, Taisha, and my youngest granddaughter. Stand up so they can see you guys. I'm just so proud of those kids. I don't know what. Yeah. That's the oldest, and that's the youngest over there. And then Frankie, you've heard his name called a couple of times, who also was had middle history in Petersburg during his time in athletics here. And he went on to Little State also, as much as I tried to get him to Big State, which he finally, he couldn't stay in one school, so he finally ended up in another school at Virginia State. He played up there. But he was the one that nominated me, and I want to thank you for that as well. And then I have my brother and his wife here, Curtis, as well. But most of you remember this other lady that was here with me, and during that time, they called a GT, they called what do they call you, the cheerleading coach, whatever else they call, some nice things they call you. Well, during your time here, but the love of my life, and for over 40 years now we've been married, I want to recognize Gloria Smith, my wife. Thank you. And again, if I've left anyone out, please take it from the head, from not the heart, for thanking you, for making me who I am today. And without Petersburg and the Petersburg family, obviously many of the things that I've accomplished could not have been done. And again, I want to thank the Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame for this induction. Many people know I was inducted last week into the Washington, D.C. Education Hall of Fame, but I will tell you, it will not measure up to what has happened here tonight with this award. Thank you, and I appreciate it.
Our next inductee is the only woman in this year's class, but whose vision of female sports can be felt to this day, the late Ann Bell Van Landingham. Van Landingham was a member of the class of 1933 and played all three sports that were offered to girls at that time, which was basketball, field hockey, and softball. After graduation, she attended Madison College, which is now James Madison University in Harrisonburg. While there, Van Landingham played varsity basketball and field hockey and participated in class softball. In 1941, she returned to Petersburg and taught in the PE department at the high school. 3 years later, Van Landingham began her coaching career in girls basketball as well as field hockey until 1959. She would also add the title of head softball coach from 1957 to 1958, and she served as an advisor of the Girls Monogram Club from its inception in 1959 to 1961. Van Landingham had the vision and the will to have sports as an option for females in the area, well before Title IX became a federal law, paving the way for future athletes and future Hall of Famers such as Selita Thomas, Nicole Cook, Tia Hines, Lisa Mickens-Mason, and Cheryl Taylor. Tonight, we are fortunate to have one of Coach Van Landingham's former team members, Mrs. Mary Jo Osment, and her nephew, Jim Van Landingham, to come up and accept this honor on behalf of the newest member of the Hall of Fame, Ann Bell Van Landingham.
We can bring the whole entourage up here. I also would like to thank Bill Lawson and the Hall of Fame committee for creating this Hall of Fame, because Petersburg didn't have a sports Hall of Fame until 4 years ago. I've been lucky enough to come to all 4 inductions, and it's been an impressive, worthy group in all 4 of those classes. And I will say that our family is very proud that our aunt, Ann, is being inducted this year. Ann was one of 4 children. There were 3 girls and 1 boy. The 1 boy was my dad. He was the baby. But my dad had 3 very competent athletic sisters. And you'll know why in a minute. I had in proposing this induction, there was discussion about the Van Landingham girls, because they all went through Petersburg. They went to Petersburg High School. They played all the sports that Petersburg offered at the time in the early 30s, and they were field hockey, basketball, and softball, sometimes called baseball. We have, the oldest girl was Mary, and Van Robertson is the son, one of the sons of Mary. Jean was the youngest girl. And here from Frankfurt, Germany, is Jean's daughter, Anne, who flew in yesterday to be a part of this. And like her Aunt Ann, she was the only female, the only niece of the group. There were 8 nephews of Ann and 1 niece, so we had 1 female in that too, just like. They graduated in the 30s. They played all 3 sports. They all 3 went on to, when Mary went, it was actually Harrisonburg State Teachers College. It became Madison College. It is now currently James Madison University. All 3 girls played all 3 sports there. Mary, the oldest, came back, taught for 2 years, and coached at Petersburg High, and then got married and moved on. Ann came back after her and started teaching and then coaching. She was also athletic director. I don't know, we must not have put that in here, but she was that for a long time. We thought that because Ann and I, and not so much Van, but Van was playing football for Petersburg at the time, but since when we came along, we were too young to really follow our Aunt Ann's career. So we thought it would be a good idea to find one of her players, former players, to come in and say something about our aunt as a coach. And so we were lucky enough to get Mary Jo, was tutor, is Osment, to come in from Tennessee to say a few words about Ann as a coach. Thank you.
Good evening. Dr. Smith, we may be able to talk about a plot at Blanford Cemetery after the... I have some unoccupied space over there. If you remember Tudor's Drugstore, I'm my father's daughter, which means you always can find a way to make a buck. It has been really very inspiring to hear of all of your enthusiasm tonight, and I haven't lived in Petersburg for many years, but I'll always love Petersburg. It's a very, very special place and very, very special people. And I was told by Jim to not say a whole lot, so this is going to be sweet and short. To be a good coach, you've got to have a bunch of different qualities. One of them is you've got to really care about people. To be a good coach, you've got to be fair. To be a good coach, you've got to want to help people reach their potential, but not settle too low. Miss Van Landingham, or Miss Van, as we all called her, was exactly that. She was exactly that kind of coach. Now, she was coaching at a time when women's sports did not have anywhere near the status that men's sports did. And you're all very much aware of that. And it was a good 10 years, I think, after she retired that Title IX began to make a change in that direction. Though, as I was checking on Google, how much women basketball players are being paid now, it is still embarrassingly lower than what the men are being paid. Seriously lower. So there's still room to develop. But she came at a time that there was not that much status. She fought for us. She fought for us to get all the equipment we needed. She fought for us to get nice uniforms. She fought for us to get gym time. We didn't have to worry about softball because we could get a field, but the gym was only one of them. Luckily, she worked with some very fine men of integrity. Coach Kilburn, Coach Bobby Churn, Ed Betts, who was the assistant principal. She was able to work with them to get what we needed. But we knew she had to fight for it. She had to fight for us. And we knew that, and she did. Miss Van got to know her players. She got to know their homes, their families, any difficulties they had. educational successes and academic challenges. And she was always there to support us and to help us. She was a very, very wonderful woman and a great role model for us all. I want to tell just one anecdote from my life, from my history with Miss Van, that will give you, I hope, an idea of how special a woman she was. When I was a senior in high school, I wanted to go to George Washington University. It's in Washington, D.C., and my parents were not able to take me to see the school. And even though I had been driving since my 15th birthday, which was the day I got my driver's license, they wouldn't let me drive up by myself. Miss Van volunteered to go with me. She took a day, rode with me to Washington to see the university, and I think we went to the Capitol and sat in the Senate, but she did that for me, and that was way beyond what was called for. So she was a good woman. She was also a very brave woman to ride with an 18-year-old who'd never driven to Washington. I've lived there and driven there a lot since then, but that was my first time. So she was very brave. But she really deserves this honor, and thank you for giving it to her.
Where our final inductees are a group of men who at the time changed the landscape of how a state champion is now decided in the state of Virginia because of one game. They are the 1966 Petersburg High varsity football team. At this time, I will introduce the entire team. When I call your name, please come forward. First 15 to my left, next 15 to my right, from projection screen to projection screen. Got your orders, team? All right. David Parrish, Jerry Springfield, Danny Ray Wilkerson, Boston Lackey. When I call your name, come on up. Ronnie Erb, Hall of Famer. Mike Moody, Eugene Brockwell, Peter Santago, Keith Barker, Rudy Hawkins, Rodney Durham, Stokes Hill, David Dorenzio, Riddle Hines, Herman Williams, Donald Ferguson, Tommy Warren, and accepting in his honor is Patricia Langster. If she's here, come forward. Tim Reeves, James Black, and accepting in his honor is Erica Black. If she's here, please come forward. Robert Spencer, Charles Buki Barksdale, Vincent Hardy, James Wilkins. Okay. Okay. No, it's more than 15. Guys, if you could come towards the front of the table over here. Get your plaques first. Gentlemen who already received their plaques, if you start here at the front of the table. The next group of names, we're going to start on this side of the table. I think I stopped with Charles Buki Barksdale, I believe, so we're going to go with Vincent Hardy, James Wilkins, Fletcher Braswell, Bob Elmore, Larry Toombs, Fred Tonys, Charles Wall, Jack Ayton, Eddie Phillips, Howard Brown, Alan Bristow, Brian Drebber, hope I got that right, Vernon Honeycutt, and accepting in his honor will be Bruce Honeycutt, Tom Hodnett, Bernard Ray, Bob Antozzi, Richard Hill, Richard Earl, Frank Brew, Bernie Cousins, Larry O'Berry, and accepting in his honor is Brandon O'Berry, head coach Bobby Tyler, assistant coach Norman Jenkins, Jim Porak, Bob Budlove, and Nelson Fox Ramsey. The 1966 football team. This group of gentlemen were led by high school All-American and 2017 Petersburg Hall of Famer Ronnie Erb. They had over 10 players that were named to the All-City and All-District teams. 3 players were named All-State. Richard Earl was an All-American that went to the University of Tennessee and were later drafted by the Buffalo Bills. Larry Toombs attended the University of Richmond. Rudy Hawkins and Ronnie Erb both went to Virginia State, or Big State, as we say on the yard. Stokes Hill attended Colorado State. Charles Barksdale went to VMI. Herman Williams went to Millikan University. And Tommy Warren played with the United States Marine Corps and later died in service for his country in Vietnam. This team had huge victories over their arch rivals Hopewell by 35, with Erb scoring 6 touchdowns in that game. They shut out Colonial Heights by 25 and beat Thomas Dale 21-7. In fact, the last 7 games of the season, the defense held their opponents to just 5 points per night. Petersburg won the Central District title that season. They beat Lee Davis 26-12 at City Stadium in front of over 12,000 fans. The following day, they were voted as the #1 team in the state. At the time, the VHSL did not have a playoff system. They were crowned as state champs by a voting system, and due to that technicality, cost this football team. Earlier that year, they played and beat Benedictine. But the Cadets were not a member of the VHSL, so the game didn't give the Crimson Wave the needed points to be crowned state champs. And because of that one game, the Virginia High School League instituted a playoff system, which is used to this day with a modification here and there. In the history of Petersburg football, there are only 3 teams that finished the season undefeated and untied. The 1933 team was 12-0 and finished as the top team in the state and played in what is now considered the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, Florida, but were not state champs because they were not a member of the VHSL. The 1937 team were declared state champs by going 10-0, but there was no playoff system. And then there was the 1966 team, who remains to this day the last Petersburg football team to finish a season undefeated and untied. 51 years. And to speak on behalf of the newest group, newest team to be inducted into the Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame, the 1966 varsity football team, Mr. Rudy Hawkins.
First of all, I'd like to thank our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Without him, none of this would have been possible. I'm not a real good speaker now, so I want y'all to kind of bear with me. I was kind of thinking about asking Mr. Parrish to speak, but we don't have enough time in a day for that. On behalf of the 1966 Petersburg High School football team,
I would like to thank the Petersburg Athletic Sports Hall of Fame Committee for selecting our team to be part of the Hall of Fame. Our head coach, as mentioned, was Bobby Tyler. Assistant coach Norman Jenkins, Jim Porak, Bob Butlove, and Nelson Fox Ramsey. These coaches were role models to the players, and all the players looked up to the coaches, and we respected them on the field and off the field. The coaching staff believed that any player that came out for the team and made it through the 2 weeks of summer practice, 2 days, 6 a.m. in the morning and 6 p.m. at night, would be on the team, no exception. Our coaches had us well prepared for whatever the opposing team would throw at us on offense or defense. All of our games were at 8 o'clock at night, whether home or away. When we played at Cameron Field, the fans would start showing up at 6 p.m. There would be 5,000 plus fans come to the home game. It was standing room only. A lot of y'all in here remember it. A lot of them sitting up here are too young to remember, but it was standing room only. Brandon Williamson Tobacco Company was in Petersburg, and it was hard to get people to work the 3 to 11 shift. On Friday night when the Crimson Wave played at home, the entire city was behind this team, and all over town the talk was about the game we just played or the upcoming game to play. When we had an away game, the Petersburg fans were there to support us. Most of the time, we had more Petersburg fans there than the home team we were playing. I'm going to go back a little bit on what Sean talked about, but I think it's kind of important. And I really don't want to get pogged up on my spot, on my piece of paper, so I'm got to bear with me a little bit. In the 100-year history of Petersburg High School, it's only been 4 undefeated teams, 1911, 1933, 1937, and 1966. It was 29 years from the 1937 undefeated season before the 1966 team went undefeated. It has been 51 years without having another undefeated football team in Petersburg. Football has always been a large part of the Petersburg community. Larry Toombs, one of our team members, is writing a book on the history of Petersburg high school football, starting in the early 1900s to present. The team was made up of players from all over the city. But when we put that crimson and gold uniform on, we were a team in every meaning of the word. And the other teams knew it. The players on this team did not care who scored the touchdown, who made the block, who caught the pass, who made the tackle. We came together with one common goal in mind: to win football games. The kickoff and punting special teams never had a play run all the way back for a touchdown at any time during the season. The special team players took pride in seeing who could be the first player down the field and make the tackle. When we kicked the ball off, the opposing team, either at home or away, our kickoff team set the tone for the game. A lot of y'all in here remember that, and a lot of y'all remember seeing those players fly down there. The other team knew real fast it was going to be a long night for them. This team did not make a secret about what it was going to do on offense. We were going to run the football and invite the other teams to stop us. Our quarterback, David Parrish, threw 22 passes and completed 12 all season. Lots of times when I talk to David on the phone, just, you know how guys talk, all of us are little kids when we get on the phone talking, and, you know, you catch a fish about this big, but it's about this big. But David sometimes thinks he threw maybe 100 passes, but that really wasn't the case. He threw 22 and completed 12, which is a real good average. Most teams throw that many the first half of a game. Now, as always, the players that run the ball, score their touchdown, get the headlines in the paper. But the backfield of the 1966 team wants to thank the linemen on this team because you helped produce a high school All-American named Ronnie Erb and a 10-0 season. So much success of this team was because of the second and third string players and how they pushed the first string. None of the first string players except for Ronnie had a position. All of us had to fight for it every week or we'd get benched. These guys pushed us. The practices against each other on that dusty, old, hard, no grass practice field was harder than some of our games, and that is the truth. Our second string players would have been starters for the other teams. I'd like to mention in closing 4 members that have passed away, and we heard their names before, but these guys played on this team also. James Black, Richard Earl, Vernon Honeycutt, Tommy Warren. Our team would like to congratulate all the inductees that are going into the Hall of Fame tonight, a great group of people. And what Dr. Smith said, I'd like to kind of echo. Challenge yourself a little bit to think about what sports has done for everybody in this room. Just think about it. All the coaches here. They love seeing kids achieve and get ahead. What we need to do is put Petersburg back on the map every kind of way we can. So I really don't want to beg for money, but I'm going to issue a challenge to you. Let's try to get them a field house. Let's try to do something like that. Thank you again on behalf of the 1966 team.